Hello, it's Nancy Johnson, and welcome to Sunday's Best. Um, I'm going to count on someone being on to tell me whether you can hear me and whether you can see me. I haven't used Facebook Live now in almost a month, um, so I want to make sure that you can see me and hear me. So I'm waiting for someone to let me know that, and then we'll get started. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We usually do a repeat of a review of the previous segment. But as you know, you may well know if this is not your first time on, or if you are following me on social media. Unfortunately, I lost my husband about a month ago. Uh, Hello, Genevieve. Can you hear me and see me? All right. I was just saying that it's been about a month since I've been on, and lost my husband suddenly. And I thank all of you for the prayers, the cards, the flowers, the gifts, the deeds, whatever you did. We appreciate it. The Johnson family appreciate it. All right. So we're going to go into back to April 11th to be exact. There was a segment that I had then, and I want to review a few things on it. Good evening, Diane. I want to review a few things that I had on that show, and so it may be a reminder or a repeat for some of you, and it may be totally new, but it is directly related to what we're going to talk about tonight. And tonight's topic is going to be 5 ways your family can create and build wealth. And we're going to talk about some interesting facts. Welcome, Charlene. But before we talk about those facts, again, I want to review what we did back in April because my coach has been talking this week a segment on how do you leave an inheritance, and are you working on an inheritance. So we're going to talk about some interesting things here tonight, but I promise we're going to be off in less than 45 minutes. It may take a little more than 30, but by all means, it's going to be beneficial to you. And so the pandemic, we learned a lot, and we should have learned a lot. There were some sad times, but it gave us an opportunity to think. It gave us an opportunity to pivot. It gave us an opportunity to shift things that were not working for our good so that they could work for our good. So we talked about the fact that with the pandemic, we learned some new vocabulary words. Stimulus, okay? Hunger, a lot of talk about people not being able to feed their family. We learned the word COVID. Respirators were talked about a lot. Um, 3 types of vaccines. And there was a big, big, big conversation on the wealth gap and how it is widening and what we can do as individuals to make sure that we don't get swallowed up in the hole or in the belly of the whale. All right. So, new words, it caused some of us to do a new thing. Some of us have always wanted to work from home. Well, be careful what you ask for because some of us got that opportunity. I know I did. Um, and so, what is the wealth gap? What do you think it is? Um, to sum it up, it's probably the difference between the have and the have-nots. And I'll tell you, if you've been a have-not like me and you finally found a way to have, you better be really grateful because it doesn't happen for everybody. Some people live and will always live in the poverty gap or in the distress of not having enough. So those that are considered the haves, they are blessed. But you know what? The have-nots are not left out. If you know there's a hole, would you just walk and fall right into it and not try to dig your way out? Well, I'm going to say that if the gap keeps getting wider and we don't do anything about it, that's exactly what's going to happen. Back in April, we talked about what is the financial gap? What are the moving parts? What links should you be connecting? What are the dots that you need to connect to get out of the poverty mindset, first of all, into the mindset of more than enough or overflow? There's going to be a huge divide anywhere you look at it. There always has been. But I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about the White House. I'm talking about you and your house. Okay? So that's what I want you to focus on tonight. What is it that I can do as part of a family, as the leader of the family or the head of the family or the support of the head of the family to make sure that me and my house are well taken care of? And it says we need to learn money facts. Money is to be multiplied. Money has energy. It needs to be moved. Money has a mind of its own, but when you earn it, you should be in charge of it. So you should be able to tell your money what to do and where to go and what you expect it to produce. Now, the good word says that we should be fruitful and multiply. Fruitful and multiply. Let that sink in. Think about the last time you were fruitful. You should know your fruit. When was the last time your money went to work for you and was multiplied? Okay? It's not just enough to earn money. You've got to make the money. You got to manage the money. And if you want to have something in the end, you've got to multiply the money. So, another word that we need to add to this pandemic vocabulary is cash flow. Cash flow. If your money's not flowing, it's stagnant. And if it's stagnant, it's not working for you. All right? So what are you going to do about that? There's no way to grow money and be fruitful and multiply that you can't handle. You can handle it on some level, even if it's multiplying pennies, dimes, quarters, dollars, then $10, then hundreds, then thousands. There is a way. So again, you cannot leave what you don't possess. And if you don't own it, it's not your possession. If you're renting, we all have been there. But if you're going to leave an inheritance for your children and your children's children, it's time that you own something. And part of owning something is going to be figuring out how not to get swallowed up in the gap. Okay? So we went on to say, I think it was in Proverbs 4, chapter 4, verse 25, 27, keep your eyes straight ahead. So now that you know that there's a possible hole out there called a wealth gap, you got to focus. You don't want to slip and fall in the hole. You don't want to become complacent and end up in the hole. So, biblical principles are all throughout the Bible. As a matter of fact, from Crown Ministry, I learned that there are 2,350 scriptures making reference to riches, wealth, um, prosperity. And why would he say so much about it if he didn't mean for us to be prosperous? If he didn't mean for us to multiply? If he didn't mean for us to be fruitful? So that brings me to this point. Most people watch TV more than they pay attention to their financial future. The average person takes more time planning what they're going to wear or planning a vacation than they do on planning their future. So when we talk about leaving a legacy and we talk about closing the wealth gap, we got to be thinking, what am I doing today that's going to benefit me tomorrow? And if you say, I'm working, that's not enough. You cannot work enough hours to become wealthy. It just won't happen. The math doesn't work that way. You got to make your money work for you. Another word that you need to put in your pandemic vocabulary is leverage. That's how you make your money work for you. You got to leverage it. While you're doing one thing, you're making money doing something else. And I always say, try to have 7 streams of income. 7 streams of income. Know that you're going to have money coming in, not one way, not 2, not 3, at least 4 ways. Okay? And so, very few people ever plan or ever come up with a strategy where they could leave a legacy for their family. So, empowering words and a dynamic plan for your family is necessary. And the reason I say empowering words, if you always use words like, it's not enough, I can't do it, I only have enough money to pay my bills. You don't work just to have enough money to pay your bills. So let's get that straight. Let's get that through your head, that you don't work just to pay bills. And that's why I tell you, pay yourself first. The cable is not more important than you. Your cell phone, the ways that you use it is not more important than paying yourself. And though we need a car to get to work and to get things done, you don't have to have a brand new car. You don't have to have the very best. But when you can afford it, why not? You only go around once when you can afford it. So, with that being said, hello, Tracy. We got Tracy Smalls with us tonight. Let's see who else we have on here. Rima. Hello, Rima. And Charlene said, love the gap analogy. Maddie Young. Thank you, Maddie. And we have Mona Gunn. Amen for telling my money where to go. And we have Sandra Bolton, Laurie Brown, Gloria Cooper, Martha Eubanks. All right, all right. So, as I said, if you got on since I told you what our topic was about tonight, what I just reviewed from April will lead directly into 5 ways your family can create and build wealth. Angela Carr Patterson is one of my coaches. She's on. Oh boy, I better get it right tonight. Angela, the coach, is on. Phenomenal woman. So 5 ways your family can create and build wealth. You know, when you think of your family should have a mission statement. Your family should sit around the table from time to time and figure out where the family is going as a whole. Okay? If you had a business, your business would have a mission statement, no doubt. And I'm going to read you one from E.R.A. Wilder. We have what we call core values. And your family needs to know what your core values are, what you stand for, what you won't fall for, and what you're striving for. That's what your family, that everybody's head needs to be in the game. Because if one person is spending and the other person is trying to save, and the kids are in the middle pulling at you from one side to the other or one person to the other, you're not going to build wealth that way. So, what do you do to get everybody on board? It says that you should have a mission statement and a strategy, probably not the first term. It's a strategy is probably the first time you've thought about it. Um, you know, we just say, we go to work, we make a good living, or we barely get by, but we don't have a strategy to make our money grow. And so it says a business of family, how to stay rich for generations. That's what we want. We want this thing to go generations deep. When we say break the curse, let one of those curses be break the curse of poverty, break the curse of having a poor mindset. All right. So, parents, set your kids up for future success. Other people do. Why not us? Okay. And it says in this article, I found that families who truly understand wealth tend to invest in their families with as much discipline as they do in their business. Now, a good business person or entrepreneur, um, they have a strategy for their business, no doubt, and they have a mission statement. So, what I'm going to do now is a mission statement is tied to your values. Values, what you do, what you won't do, what you stand for, and what you're against. So, I'm going to read you a couple of core values from E.R.A. Wilder. It says core values, and we have these posted in our office so that the general public can see them as well as we, the agents. It says approach opportunity. There's that word, opportunity. If you're going to um, create wealth for generations, you got to take advantage of opportunities. You can't be afraid to take a risk. Risk is involved in everything. Like sometimes I'm doing this video and it just goes out, but I take that risk. Okay. I take the risk that, and I tell you, um, if it goes out, I'll come back with part two because I'm never going to be left without a plan. So, core values, what you stand for. It says approach opportunity, challenges, and above all, each other with a positive attitude. That's value number one, positive attitude. Value number two, conduct ourselves in a professional manner as honesty and integrity guides our decisions. If you're making a mission statement for your family, they need to know that you don't plan to cheat, steal your way to the top. You're going to work with integrity, and you're going to be consistent, and you're going to take advantage of opportunities, and you're going to make life-changing decisions. Number three, respect each other's time and differences. That's right. Respect each other times and differences, perspective, feelings, and opinions. That's why you need the round table with your family. Because um, though you live in the same house, though you may sleep in the same bed, not everybody has the same perspective about wealth and about savings, or about investing. Number 4, embody the spirit of teamwork. A family that prays together stays together. A family that works together grows together. Number 5, define success through continued growth. And these are the core value. Define success. You got to know what it is you're seeking. And then you've got to be consistent and insistent on doing it consistently in order to be successful. And the last part of the core value for ERA is together we will commit to live by these principles as we contribute to our overall good of the office, of the company, of the community, and our industry. And I'll end by saying, and our family. So it's important to get everybody involved. The family needs to know what it is you're trying to accomplish. So, number 1 of the 5 ways is come up with a family mission statement. And the example they gave says every business leader no business leader would ever start a business without having some kind of mission statement. They want a plan to gain customers, not how to lose them. A family that wanders off course runs the same risk as they would running a business and not being consistent and not having a mission statement. So see yourself with you and your family having maybe an initial meeting just to talk about it. All right. And then a roundtable discussion maybe once a month, and make it fun. Make it fun. Have rewards. Maybe have a little prize for the person that comes and brings the most creative or the most fruitful idea to the table that can be multiplied and cause your family to reap profits. So family night, get everyone involved. It says starting with a clear mission statement. Does your family know what you're trying to do? Maybe they would help. Do they know? Do your children know? Do they know that your family has a budget? Do they know what a budget is? Do they know what it is to thrive versus survive? Those are things that you need to have a talk with your children and your significant other about. So starting with a clear mission is the first step that you should take. The mission statement for this particular family was, the mission of the Smith family is to keep our family connected. That's big in itself right there. Be grateful. That's another one. Gratitude. Be grateful for our good fortune. That's being positive. And share it with others. So you're not trying to get wealth just for you and yours and nobody else. When you learn something, share it with someone else. So again, I want you to think about a mission statement, and I want you to plug in, like I would say, the Johnson family our mission is to stay connected, to find ways to be fruitful and multiply, and teach others how to do the same. So I want you to think about a mission statement. You probably have never thought about that. And if you have, now may be a time to think a little more about it. But your mission statement should keep you grounded. It should keep you rooted in the principles, the business, the life, the spiritual, financial principles that it will take to close the gap, that financial gap, because it's out there. All right. So, number 2, you need to find out what your family members are thinking, what their mindset is about money. Is it about just to make it? Because remember, I said it's not enough to make it. You have to make it, you have to manage it, and you have to find ways to multiply it. So make money, manage money, multiply money, and create wealth. Number two is determine your values and lead with them. Values are guiding standards that one uses to get things done. All right. And it's what they believe in their heart of hearts. This is true for members of businesses as well as a family. When standards are clear, crystal clear, the family will not only weather the storm, they will grow stronger because of the storm. So we've had a storm, the pandemic. You know, we all been in the same storm, but we weren't all in the same boat. Some people did better or are doing better in this pandemic than they've ever done in their life. It may be hard to believe, but it's a fact. I promise you, it's a fact. So smart business people, smart families lead with values, respect. They try to accumulate assets. They consistently save. They seek out investment opportunities. And I'll bet you their values are about faith, about family, about budget, about integrity, and about using the right business principles to get what they want in life. The key is to open up dialogue with your family and have a discussion on the principles so that the members of the family know where they fit in. If you're a child and you're not making the money, you don't need to be making the money decisions. And as I stated before, if your children are asking and you are complying with buying a phone and a pair of sneakers and a jersey that costs more than your rent, and you don't have an emergency fund, and you don't have 3 to 6 months saved up, then you're being sucked into the hole and you're sure to fall in the cracks of the wealth gap. Number three, says, get input from all family members. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. And you know what? If your children get really serious, they may bring some things to your attention that you didn't even know. Because you know what? They'll use the computer. And if they are really soaking up what it is you're talking about when you're talking, they're going to leave that table. They're going to leave that meeting and they're going to Google some stuff. And they're going to come back and say, I know what cash flow is. I know what an asset is. I found this stock that I think that our family needs to buy some. And then if they were talking to me, I'd probably say, you got to tell me a little bit more about stock because I know absolutely nothing about them. And I would listen because I would know that they have listened. Another thing, there is a game called Cash Flow, and we call it the Rat Race. We've been playing it now for close to 20 years. And it's a game, a financial game by Robert Kiyosaki. And he is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Well, in that game, you get to play and you get to play out real life scenarios, real life principles. And in the game, in order to get out of the rat race, you have to make sure that you have something producing passive income. And passive income is something you do one time, or residual, you do it one time, and then it happens over and over and over. Kind of like cable. They come and set you up one time and you pay all the time, all right, on a monthly basis. And they don't come back unless they're going to cut you off. And they may be able to do that without coming out. I don't know. But anyway, you really need to engage the family so that the family is aware and they are aware of what is a necessity, what is a desire, what is a need, what is can be instant gratification, delayed. Most kids don't know what a layaway is now because parents, we go get with them what they want, okay, when they want it. So, or when it's in fashion or when it just comes out. We didn't have it like that. And we want our children to have generational wealth, but more than that, we want them to have um, financial literacy. They need to know financially. They need to know about money. Other people are having that conversation, and we're missing out if we don't have it. So you should host frequent family gathering, creating a strong relationship and a bond so that the family is connected. The family needs to work together and discuss values, set financial goals, and establish and share the family vision for generational wealth. Number four, set goals as a team. I know we're not used to doing this, but a lot of times that's why we get flack because we don't sit down and talk it out together. Now, there's some things that you just don't share with the children, but you got to set their mindset on money has to be uh, like a target. They got to know how to get there. It's got to be there. Wise families decide jointly what they want to accomplish financially and personally, and then set about doing it as a team. Determining collective goals keeps a family focused. So, if you're seeking wealth, it should be a joint effort. And just as a business, a company decides, on a dynamic vision for themselves to be competitive, you have to look at opportunities and figure out which one is going to fit best for your family vision overall. Number five, strategize to optimize. Good strategies are essential to achieving goals. So figure out, where should the family energy be focused? Where should it be focused? And you got to make it fun because you want your young people to grow up to be strong people. You want them to be prosperous. You want them to be faithful. You want them to know what overflow is so that they can help somebody else or so they can give to somebody else. It's not enough to give them change in church and say, pay your tithe. Then what? Then what? You got to teach them what to do with the other 90%. Okay? Just bringing them up in church and telling them to pay their tithe, that's a good thing, but you got to tell them how to manage that money. Tell them to give their money a job. Their money has to be fruitful and it has to multiply. So I've gone through the five, and this says generational wealth. Teach your children now about generational wealth. So again, determine your values and lead with your values. Get your family involved. Now, I'm going to finish up. I see we have so many more people on. Monica Willis is on. Thank you, Monica. Gloria Kinley and Charlene says, we do have a mission statement and values. Great, Charlene. That's great. And Vivian is on. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you all for being on. This week, with my morning inspiration with Dr. Nicola Smith Jackson, it was talking about leaving legacy and a couple of things that just really stuck with me. It says, how can you leave what you don't own? And hers was, she was talking about self-care. And you know what? When you don't have money issues or money worries or money problems, you can take better care of yourself. You can do some of the things that will spiritually, financially, emotionally, physically be soothing because you don't have a money problem. So money ain't everything, but it's up there with oxygen. And money gives you options. It shouldn't give you an attitude to think that you're better than anyone else, but it should give you options that you can take. And so ask yourself, um, what am I doing that is fruitful right now? And how can I grow that fruit and multiply it? So that's a question for you to ask yourself. How am I being fruitful? And what can I do to multiply it? And it says financial literacy is a must. It's not just enough to make the money, but you've got to learn how to manage it. You got to learn how to multiply it. And together, you have to equip yourself not only to pray daily, but to plan what you're going to do with your money daily. And keep your mind on your money and money on your mind. Because I promise you, even if you're about to go out on a mission to a foreign country, you're going to need some money. So when we're talking about this financial gap, and we're talking about 5 ways that you can create generational wealth, you see, you can't do it by yourself. You need other people involved, and your family should be one of those people that are involved. And when God says, "Be fruitful and multiply," we should take Him at His word. He wouldn't tell us to be fruitful if we were going to be dead, and if we were just going to let our money just sit there. And you can have $100,000 in the bank and not make $10 with the current interest rate that they're paying on savings. So you got to get smart. You got to do stuff like what we're doing right now. Talk about it. Share with each other. We don't have to compete. We can collaborate, and we can learn from one another. What you know, I may not know. What you've tried, I may have tried. And I may can tell you how to do it a little bit better. And somebody else we connect with may say, I've got a better way. That's the old way. I can show you how to multiply that. So with that being said, I'm just going to repeat, unless there are any questions. And Carolyn Graham Anderson, thank you for getting on, Carolyn. Let's be fruitful and multiply, as it says in Proverbs 13 and 22. Not just make the money, manage the money, multiply the money. You can be unhealthy physically, mentally, spiritually, and yes, financially. You've got to own something in order to leave an inheritance. And an inheritance is about owning something. And most times it's an asset, like cash, real estate, car, jewelry. All those things are assets that people leave and they pass down from one generation to another. So no, money is not everything. God is everything. And if He says that you can be prosperous, why don't you think you should not have anything? That's my question. And so when we walk around with the lack of money as a mindset, we're saying that we don't believe what the word says. And this is Sunday's best. And I'm not preaching, I'm just teaching. I'm just telling you what I know to be a fact. It is time for you to figure out where you are, figure out where you want to be, figure out where you got to come from to get to where you want to be. It's time to keep it real. And the real thing is, folks, money gives you options. And if you want to leave an inheritance for your children and your children's children. It's time for us to get busy. We got to be about it. This pandemic is not going to last forever. And if it's a helping hand, great, but don't let it be a crutch. Because you know what stimulus is? Stimulate the economy. That doesn't mean putting anything in your account, in your savings account, that you're going to leave there. It doesn't mean that they're going to give you 3 to 6 months worth of income to pay your bills. They want you to spend that money. Stimulate. That's what it is. We are consumers, and they know that. And so if you gotten a helping hand, God bless you. If you got the stimulus check, I hope you put back a little bit. I hope you looked at it and said, this is for me. That is for this bill, but this is for me. So I want you to take me serious when I say pay yourself. And I say pay yourself first because each person knows what they're supposed to do with the top 10%. Anybody that trusts to give you 90% and ask you for 10, that sounds like a good deal to me. So if you're going to be good to yourself, learn to operate off of less than 70% of what you make. Because if you can invest 30%, that 10% that you invest into the person who gave you the ability to get wealth, and that other 20% to set aside so that you can have some investments from time to time, or peace of mind. It just is an example. And I'm going to close with this. I didn't start with it because I didn't know whether I could make it through without crying. But those of you who prayed for me, prayed for my family, know that I lost my husband of 53 years. And I shared with my good friend Vivian, and I think I shared it with Genevieve and with Mona and my sister Sandra as well. I got a new title. And when I used to look at applications, I checked female, married, all of my adult life. I never really looked to the right because if you note on most applications, widow does not come first. All right. And so I thought the word widow. And for me, I thought empty, dark, lonely, eating alone, sleeping alone, losing a loved one, just dark things. And only for a minute. And then I said, no, I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to get the best out of this situation. And I thought about, as bad as it was, it could have been worse. Okay. We had just spent the 48 hours before in the mountains. It could have been an accident. Both of us could have been gone. And then I thought about, what if I'm mourning, I'm crying, I'm weeping. What if I had 2 or 3-year-old children that were asking, where's my dad? Or when's my dad coming home? And I had to run back to work because I didn't know where the money was going to come from to pay the bills. Or if I had to run around and, ask people for money to keep me afloat. Because something else that's new, probate takes 8 months. And so if you can't get your hands on your money or on your spouse's money, you're in a dark place. But I said, I see the light because it could be a whole lot worse. I could have to run back to work. I could have children that are depending on me, small children. So I said all that to say, when we talk about family, when we talk about wealth, we got to look at some of the things that the wealthy people use. They use insurance in more ways than one. They use savings. They use investing. And so we're going to have some more things to talk about on this call. And I thank so many of you for getting back on tonight. I've been off for about a month, and I thank you for your prayers. And we usually do 30 minutes, but I said tonight it was going to be about 45. So, Laurie, um, thank you for getting on. And Laurie says, I hope more of our family members are listening. And Laurie and I, though we haven't seen each other in our adult life, I remember when she was a little girl and we grew up on Sand Ridge, and we're both Fultons, but she lives in Maryland, I believe, and I've not seen her in many years. But thank God for social media because we are on, and I hope that some of our family are listening. And yes, I try to be strong, independent, but I'm human. I get emotional. I cry, and then it rains, and then the sun comes out, and I'm like, I know my husband would want me to go on. And thank you, Diane, and Vivian. God's got you. I believe me. I believe you. He's got me. And Genevieve, um, thank you so much. And love y'all. And live life while you're living. Live life while you're living. You know that we got some china that we put up and we don't eat off of them. Don't let your life be like that. Don't be on a shelf for show. Show God that you appreciate Him creating you, and live life while you're living. Thank you and have a good night. Have a good night. Have a good life. In fact, have $1 million life.